Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayler's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
Pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, here's Jim Coyle.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you on this Tuesday. Not bad out there, others. We're heading in towards Christmas, not that far away. Hope you had a great start to your week yesterday and basketball last night. Indiana on the court. We'll talk about that, of course. And we've got J.D. Campbell in the house, Campbell's Corner. And look who else. Special guest J.D. Brunk. I think the only guy who ever played for Indiana, Ohio State, and Butler, right?
Yeah, he's the only one. I've already looked it up.
Yeah, I was like, nobody's ever done that. That's that's kind of cool for all of being in the state of Indiana. First, thank you, Joey, for joining us. Appreciate you. I never had the opportunity to meet you, but got some pressers. Is about as close as we got. But appreciate you.
Appreciate you for having me on, and JD kept you at arm's length, it appears.
Yes, that's
exactly. We talked about this, Jim, haven't we? That was my job. PR, protect reputation. And as Joey knows, and again, I know Joey is still close to the Butler program, and we're going to get into that first. But coming to IU, he understood and knew what the responsibilities and the bigger stage, so to speak. That's not to take away anything from Butler, but he finished up his career with a chance to play for the coach that recruited him to Butler, and that was Chris Holtman. And Joey, again, is one of my favorite people. He spoke to my class early this year, Jim. But right now, if it's okay with you here on the corner, first off, I'm wearing the Pete Rose underneath, so I'm the third base Pete Rose from 75-76, the Big Red Machine. If that's okay with you, Jim.
Brother, just roll.
All right.
I'm in the background. I'm in the background.
Okay.
You just go.
Joey, what I'd like to ask you, first of all, really excited that you are getting an opportunity to share your insight and analysis as an announcer this first year with ESPN Plus. Can you tell us how that happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a whirlwind. My brother and I were in Texas for a work trip, and I got a text from John Dedman, the SID at Butler, saying, "Hey, can I give you a call? I might have a business opportunity for you." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds good." I didn't really know what it was about. And he called me and he said, "Hey, you might be getting a call from somebody with the Big East. We have a new TV deal, Big East at ESPN Plus, and got a couple buy games. I mentioned your name. They might reach out. They might not. I don't know." 2 hours later, I got a call from Scott Heck from the Big East, and he was like, "You ever done this before? Blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "No, I have no experience." And I was like thinking to myself, there's no way he's going to offer me this right now. And he goes, "Well, I need somebody to do these 5 games, so the job's yours." And since then, it's just been trying to figure out how do I do it from there. It's been trial by fire.
Have you done your 5 games yet?
I had my 5th game yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday, that wasn't a good game.
Yeah, but, no, that was a lopsided one for the Bulldogs.
Well, look, this as a player. Sometimes you kind of need that shrimp cocktail right before Christmas. And, they were coming off. That's a hard turnaround to play such an emotional game Saturday in Gainbridge, where they, no coach is ever happy. They may be happy inside because they won, but he'll find some faults. Thad,
Right.
He's a veteran. He's experienced. But let's talk about what it's like for you, because I do know that you followed what I did very closely, and we had the kind of relationship where we always talked about handling the media. A lot of interest in you coming to IU, but now you're an announcer, and tell me about your day yesterday and what it was like in your preparation for broadcasting the game.
So my one, I think I've been very fortunate that through my playing career, I met a lot of great people that worked in TV, and I guess I was foolish enough to get their phone numbers at some point and keep in touch with them. So before I even did my first game, I had already talked to Robbie Hummel. I already talked to Gus Johnson. I already talked to some people where it's like, okay, I'm kind of like trying to get a little bit of a baseline for what this looks like. I texted with Jason Benetti. So it's like, okay, let's get a little bit of a foundation, which was nice. And then I just make my boards, and then I actually use my former roommate from college. I use his Synergy account to watch film on all the players. I don't know if I'm going to potentially get him in trouble for sharing his Synergy or not.
Is it? Let me ask you this. And is it a guy from Indiana, Butler, or Ohio State? And I won't tell, because I think I know who it is.
Indiana, but I'm
got it. I know who it is.
I've always.
Let me tell you something. You want to talk about sharing things? It was about right when the preseason started that I got a text from the unnamed person that you're talking about, needing my Big Ten Plus account. Well, I didn't renew it, because I thought I don't, I see a lot of games, or now I went a couple weeks ago. So I said, you know what? These guys always relied on me as the SID to get them those things. So I got an account, and I probably shared it with about 15 people because I didn't care. And I didn't back then either. So if the Big Ten wants to find me, they know where to find me, But yeah, and so you get all this stuff going. Now, how is it? I would think in the bye games, you're dealing with coaches and players that are kind of in awe of playing in Hinkle Fieldhouse. So how are they receptive to you coming to practice? And do they give you tidbits because they know that you're not going to share that? Because that's always a concern with coaches, that whatever they give might get back to somebody.
Yeah, no, I've been very fortunate that for all the 5 Butler games I've done, I've been able to. I've already kind of known Coach Mata for a couple of years, so he's always been incredibly friendly. And then I known some of the other coaches that had came in for some of the games I had done, so I kind of was in a nice spot with having a little bit of a relationship with some of these guys. But it's always been like kind of funny because like whenever we talk to the coaches, the play-by-play guy normally has his questions, and on my head, like I only got 1 or 2. Like I know you guys are more worried about the game than talking to me, so I'm not really gonna bog you down with anything. I just want to know what did you maybe try and clean up the last 2 or 3 days in practice? What was the point of emphasis? What are hey, we want to get better at XYZ tonight. We didn't do a good job with this our last game out. This is what we got to get better at tonight. But that's really been about it. I don't like to take up too much of their time. I know they're worried about the game, not worried about talking to me.
And you may know that I worked the Indy Classic, the Butler and Purdue games on Saturday, and their director of operations, Andrew Lentz, is one of my former assistants. And I hired him to be an assistant SID, and he worked baseball, and I think he did some secondary football. But he was so good at the creative stuff that Tom stole him from me. And he was doing creative, and then he's gone on. He was associate AD at Baylor, director of ops at Louisville. Now he's been with Butler since Thad got there. And my questions would have been Saturday, what was that pizza you guys had outside the locker room? And you know that spending all those years with me, because it was not something that you had to buy from Gainbridge. You have to have it delivered to the bus because you could, and maybe there were some restrictions that you had to order. But that's a great event. You played in it with two teams. You were in the fantasy game, so and I got the picture up on the wall.
You did, yeah. You put that up. I saw it. I saw it every day on the way to practice.
Yeah, but with Thad, his daughter, and Andrew, it was great to see them. But I want to go back just a little bit because when you spoke to my class, you were very insightful, talking about your experience playing overseas. And both you and Jordan Hulls kind of had the same message to the kids. Those people are better prepared to play basketball than maybe what we're seeing from United States players. And talk about why that is.
Well, I just think there's a pretty big difference in terms of the daily daily habits, I guess. Like it's more about practice. It's more about playing with the youth team. And like when I was in Poland and the Czech Republic, we had a youth team, and then we had our team, and like the best 2 or 3 guys from the that were 17, 18, 19 that played on both teams, but they were always in our practice. So I think that goes like a long way in developing some of the younger talent. And I just think they play less games. I think it's more like practice, and it's more playing in practice without running sets. And it's more like, hey, like we're playing with concepts of like, hey, we have, everywhere I played in Europe, like we didn't have like a real deep playbook. It was more or less 10 to 15 sets, and there's a bunch of options off of those sets. So it's like, hey, like if they're going to hard hedge, we only have 3 plays to run against a hard hedge. You just got to make the right read within that. And if they do X, then we do this. So I just think there's a little bit of a difference in how like the game is played, I guess, in that, where it's more of like knowing the spots on the floor and where to be. And obviously there's a lot of people in the States that know that too. I just think there's a difference in playing a lot, because when you play all the time, you're obviously not working on your skill development. It's just like, hey, like we're playing, and then playing doesn't mean as much. So I just think there's a difference in the how many times you get to play, and are you fired up to play because you play once a week, or do you not really care because you play 7 or 8 games Thursday to Sunday, a couple weekends a month. So I just
now
think
I believe you had a couple of stops overseas. What was your favorite place that you played at, and what role did you have for that team? Because we're going to talk a little bit about the role that you brought to IU, and some other things that maybe people aren't aware of, how important you really were as a captain, as a senior when you were injured, and as a Big Ten Sportsmanship Award honoree that year, that right when COVID hit. What was your favorite place? And tell us what they looked for you to do and how much they look at the analytics.
So my first year I was in Poland, which was just, my first year being gone. We didn't have a great start to the season. It was pretty just kind of an up and down year for the for the club. Our coach got let go late December. We had a couple of our other Americans that were fired. I actually got connected with one of my teammates played at Seton Hall in UConn that came in like in November. We became good friends, Sterling Gibbs, and then the guy from Kokomo, Taylor Persons, who's become one of my really close friends. Kind of hilarious that, we became friends in Poland. So that first year is just kind of holds a special place for me because it was so up and down and everything was so new where you're like, how am I going to go 9 months? Like, this is insane. Like, this is a long time to be away from home. We're losing. I think we went for a stretch where we didn't have heat in the gym because we were losing and they had to save money. And you're just like, this is nuts. But then, we go on this great run to end the season. And like, it worked out really well. And then my next year I played in the Czech Republic. I was like an hour from Prague. I actually ended up being teammates with Bryce Alford, Coach Alford's son, which again, one of those hilarious small world moments of like, we're really not that far separated in terms of like the basketball connection. And then we become fast friends in Europe, and his wife and their son were over there. So like, we'd hang out all the time. And again, like one of my close friends now. And then for my third year, I was back for the same club in the Czech Republic. I'd injured my back in like November of that year that had shut me down for the season. So I returned to the same club, hit it off again with some of the local guys that I had already known. So it's like kind of one of those, I don't know, cliche answers that I've said before, but it rings true for me in my experience with basketball. Like, I've had so many incredible like relationships and friendships with people that I played with in college, with guys that I played with in Europe that are both American and Polish or Czech. Like, it's just a really pretty cool thing where it's like, I got a couple of guys that I'll talk to over the next week or two that, they're 6 hours ahead of me, but we still check in on each other. And it's just it's a pretty neat deal for me that like, hey, I lived out that childhood dream of, getting to play professionally.
Well, JD, let's take a quick break. We've got to hit a break. Got Joey Brunk in the house today in Campbell's Corner. Good start calling this Campbell's Corner. He's going to be the master of just having the conversation. Oh, we need a fire pit for this, man. I could see this taking place around a little fire pit of some kind. But we got Joey Brunk in the house. We've got to take a quick break. Appreciate you being with us, peeps. More coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with more right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Glad to have you along. Thank you so much for joining us as we're heading, barreling into Christmas. It's Festivus. I forgot. Happy Festivus, everyone. I've got to go downstairs. I got to go find the aluminum pole somewhere. JD's got the fireplace going on. Campbell's corner up in the fireplace. We got it all going today. It's Festivus.
It's
Joey Brunk in the house. I mean, man, it's like Christmas. It's like Christmas morning. Got the little fire going. Joey Brunk, special guest in the house. We did. I hope we had sugar cookies and milk for him sitting out. It's like having Santa Claus drop by. But
Joey knows. Joey knows that when he's with me, he's going to go eat at a great place, and I'm going to save that for the last question. But Joey, you came to Indiana at a time when, Deron Davis, I think, was going to be the focus of Archie's offense, and I think we were going to play through him, but he had some injuries, and you came in, and bottom line is you were a winner. You were a winner, and I know that for me, I've shared this with you. The games that really stand out to me is I thought your play in the Jimmy V against UConn was really good, and in New York City, that's the Mecca, as they say, playing in MSG. And I'm sure did you play in MSG for either Butler or Ohio State?
Yeah, we had played there for the Big East tournament when I was at Butler.
Oh man, I hear that's just
that's sweet.
We played in MSG one year, and we had to play the week before the Big East because there's so much tradition in that.
Oh yeah, no, it's a big deal. It's a real big deal.
And then the other games that really stand out to me, and you may have some other ones. The game against Michigan State, where we're fighting to get in the NCAA tournament, and we had some real good games against some ranked teams there toward the end. But I remember you got the offensive rebound and put back on that, and that was your job, man. You were cleaning the glass. You were the Windex man. And so, what are your favorite memories about some of the games at IU that really had an impact on what we felt was a team that was going to go to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely will say I do think we were in. If the selection happened, we had 20 wins, so I think we were in. I do hate that we didn't get there. That bothered me, but it is what it is. It's in the past. I can't change it now. In terms of like my favorite memories, obviously in games, the Jimmy V game was up there. When we beat Notre Dame and Indy, that was pretty cool. That was a fun one.
Was that the Armand Franklin shot?
Yes.
Or because there's also another one with daggone it, Juwan Morgan. Juwan, yeah.
Yeah, but that was 2 years before.
Yeah, it was his play and then Rob Fennessy against me.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah. We love Rob, and I know you're close. We're close to everybody. But the one thing that people may not know, and I know you guys are still close, but you really took your job in practice seriously. And I think because of you, Trace Jackson Davis became a tougher and better player because he had to go up against you every day. And talk about how that relationship was building. And obviously, Trace now is still in the rotation. He played last night, got 4 points, gets to watch Draymond Green meltdown once every 2 or 3 games. But I just think that that's what people don't understand about teammates. And another guy that I hope to have on, Corey Barnett. You have guys that are so important that maybe don't get the credit, but you really beat the crap out of them, didn't you?
I think you're giving me a lot of credit.
That's what I'm here to do.
I think one part of it is Trace was a hell of a player, as a freshman. So like if I didn't bring my best every day, he would get the best of me. So like my best was required to go with him, to play against him. If I didn't play hard, I didn't have a chance. But yeah, like that was something that, I had known Trace. We worked out together. Don't live that far apart from each other. And, I had been through a little bit. I, played a couple of years, and I just was kind of took it upon myself of like, hey, I want to, be a good teammate, be a good leader. Like, hey, these are some of the things I've learned. I don't know if it's going to help you or not, but that's kind of what an older guy is supposed to do. I had older guys at Butler that, did the same thing for me. And it's kind of the job of the older guys is like to go with the younger guys and to help them get better. Like if you're not doing that, you're not doing your job as a teammate. But yeah, I mean, like I loved playing against Trace. If I didn't compete on the glass or whatever, like I didn't have a chance. And I do remember there was like a practice where we were on the same team, and we're both going for a rebound, and he had kind of took it from me, and it's like a dead ball, and he's like, hey, sorry for taking that rebound. I said, bro, don't ever apologize for taking a rebound. I said, you should be a selfish rebounder. I was like, I'm a selfish rebounder. Like, that's the one thing in sport. That's the one thing in basketball you're allowed to be selfish about, is rebounding. Like, I want to get every one of these. I was like, I'll take a rebound out of your hands if I can. Like, I want every one of them. That's part of my job.
Use that right now.
That's part of our job is to rebound. So you got to be a selfish rebounder. So I was like, don't apologize. I was like, you should try and take every one from me. I was like, you're gonna have a way better chance to get it than I do if you pursue it.
Yeah, that's the current Indiana team. I think when I watch them, that's something that they lack is someone with your skill who just has that innate ability. Like, hey, that ball, I need to have that ball, and it's hurting them on the offensive end of on the floor. But yeah, great rebounders are great rebounders. I've always thought that it's you just make a decision. And, hey, I'm going to make sure that's a point of emphasis for myself. You're not going to get everyone, but if you're thinking that way, that's in your mind, you're going to be a lot more successful at it.
Yeah, I mean, rebounding it's effort and a willingness to go, even though you're not going to get everyone. And, can you anticipate where the ball is going off the glass? And like that was kind of when I was playing in Europe, that was like a kind of point of emphasis for me. Like at the start of the game, it was, if I could get like 3 or 4 rebounds in the first quarter, I didn't have to worry because I knew I was already in like I was thinking the right things as a player. Like the ball will find me if I'm getting to the glass. If I'm getting offensive and defensive rebounds, I'll get my post-ups. I'll get some rolls. I'll get my rim runs. If I'm just worried about rebounding, I know I'm doing the right stuff to get myself in the rhythm of the game, and then everything else kind of flows from that. So that was like kind of one of my mental things that I would think about going into the game was like, hey, you're going to play probably the first 4 minutes of the first quarter, first 4 or 5 minutes before you come out. So you got to try and go get 3 offensive rebounds. Let's go get 2 defensive rebounds, 1 offensive rebound. If you're lucky, you're going to stick it back in, and then there you go. You're kind of already on the right trajectory to make an impact on the game.
When you were involved in basketball overseas, and you had like an open 3, did you have to take it, or did you run some other action to maybe get the ball to somebody else inside or get a different cutter? But it seems to me that in that type of system, they want you to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's dependent on like who it is and who is available, and that was something that I was like looking to add to my game to stretch the floor a bit. Unfortunately, I just continued to, my back kind of gave out before I could really kind of get that rolling. But yeah, like it's there's just some different nuances of the way the floor is spaced and kind of how you take advantage of certain matchups. And I'd say it's very, and I think all of basketball is becoming this way, but it's very matchup driven of like, I would get a lot of post touches to start the game if they weren't going to double team. And it's like, if they're not going to send two, then like, we're just going to keep running the same set. And if they can't guard our outside ball screen, then we're going to keep running an outside ball screen until they figure out how to guard it, because we like this matchup. And then you find a different action that maybe they're struggling with, and you just run it to death until they decide to change something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, and I do think this one thing, I know that your faith is really important to you, and you were a beast in the weight room. And that really went hand in hand when you were here at IU, because I think Cliff Marshall played a very big role with that, with every team that he was a part of. And it's amazing to see, you had Garl in the training room, Cliff in the weight room, academics, myself handling media. And that was really, I think it was still is. My guy, Charlie Duffy, is handling media. I thought that was a great system and a great group of people to be able to help you adjust to the pressures of playing Indiana basketball. But talk about Cliff, because, man, you had some records in the weight room. And if I'm not mistaken, did you not get a WWE belt one summer?
I did get a belt. It's actually on my wall, proudly hanging.
Man.
But yeah, I was very fortunate with Cliff. We spent a lot of time together, especially my second year when I was injured. Yeah, I mean, like the weight room stuff was obviously a big deal, and kind of always for me was, I always kind of believed in, hey, I need to do more. I kind of looked at practice, and that was just kind of like the bare minimum. Like, that's like, hey, like, I'm just going to class. If I'm just going to class, like, I can't expect well to do on the test. I mean, I'm not gonna get A's on every test if I'm only go to class and I don't read outside of class. I don't study. I don't do anything. So I kind of looked at that as just like, that's kind of the bare minimum. So I would get extra workouts in with Cliff. I would come into the gym and shoot at night. I would do stuff just to try and give myself a little bit of an edge. That was kind of how I got my confidence came from doing extra. I played for several coaches that said it, but you have to earn the right to play well. You don't just get to play well. You got to earn that right. And I always thought that I earned the right to play well by doing extra. And like, it's a longer story, but like when I was at Ohio State, I wasn't playing a lot, and I lifted 4 or 5 days a week. And it was the day of the Michigan State game towards the end of the season when I was going to start. I was going to have to play a lot. And Coach Holtman walked in the weight room before the game, and I was in there. And he's like, JB, what are you doing in here? I'm like, well, I do this before every game. Like, I'm not going to switch up my routine now. And then our strength coach, Coach Q, was like, yeah, like, we're not doing the normal stuff. Like, we know he's playing the night. Like, he's not doing the full hour workout. Like, we're just doing like 20 minutes. Like, this is just a little, hey, keep the routine going. This is just what we do. And Coach Holtman was like, all right, like, he is going to have to play a lot tonight, so I don't wear him out. And I was like, no, like, I'm just doing this just because this is just a routine. I gotta keep that going. But like the doing more, like, this is a silly example, but like when I was at Ohio State, I've always been tight with all the managers. And it was like January and I wasn't playing a lot. And I was like, dude, practice is getting shorter. Like, I just need to get more cardio in. So the managers would play pickup like 4 days a week after practice. So I just started playing pickup with the managers, and I just wouldn't shoot the ball, but I just would run like after practice, and I just would play pickup. We play like 3 games of full court, and I just would run. I'd handle the ball, and I just would rebound. And I love the managers, and we'd kind of goof around a little bit. I was like, yeah, I just would get my extra cardio and play pickup with the managers a couple nights a week, because I was like, I gotta be ready if I do get thrown in there. Like, there's only so much you can do when practice comes down to, an hour 15 in the middle of conference play. So, yeah, I guess I was always kind of looking for a way just to do a little bit more to be ready when when my moment came.
Well, and you know this, and that's the great thing is how players treat the managers, because they do more than a lot. They go above and beyond anything that could ever be asked, and they each have little specialties. Some may be break down film, others may do workouts. IU has had a great tradition of managers that's really being carried right now by Dusty May at Michigan. But I know now that you and your brother are in business together, and so you still have the ties. Tell us about your ties right now this fall with IU football.
So my brother and I have our own company. My brother started a couple of years ago. I started working with him in January when I retired. But we do artificial flowers on a monthly basis. So we do the suites for IU football and basketball with some of our flower arrangements. I was lucky enough to talk to Katie Bates and kind of got that done. They were spending some money on fresh flowers, and we said, "Hey, we'll save you some money." So, but we, my brother and I do that, work together, which is pretty fun. We grew up, our parents had their own family business, and kind of grown up in that world of control your own destiny. You want to be your own boss, and it's pretty neat to be able to continue that with my brother at our age now.
Now, if somebody listening or watching our show today, what's the best way to get in contact you if they maybe have a need for what you guys offer?
Our website, if you just Google the Flower Rental Company, there will be there's like a form on there that you can submit an inquiry and get you a free trial and let us know what you think, and we can kind of go from there. But yeah, we do 4 different size arrangements, offices, do some home service stuff at IU. We do a lot of senior living communities. We're kind of all over. If there's ever a place that I guess you could have a flower arrangement, we're willing to go there.
So it's just called the Flower Company?
The Flower Rental Company. Yeah.
The Flower Rental. Do you all have a website?
Yes, theflowerrentalcompany.com. We're straight to the point. Yeah.
Well, I assume that. And most people, everybody always asks stuff, and I'm like, my first thought is, did you not think to Google that? Did you not think to just Google that name? And so, yeah, the Flower Company would come right up. Boom, yep. It's the same one deal. So yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty smart move.
Yeah. Indiana fans are used to Googling right now, aren't they, Jim?
Oh, that's good point, JD. Good point, JD. Slick. I say, look at JD. Whoop, slid that one in there. Pretty good. Well, that's right.
Now, do I have time to get in a few more questions with Joey? Because we got some fun.
If Joey can stick around, we can just take a break and you can ask him. We need to hit a break.
Okay.
Going a little long, if that's all right.
I'm good. I can do a couple more.
All right. Well, we appreciate Joey Brunk being with us this morning. JD Campbell's Corner, by the way, lighting it up. But the only thing we don't have are some flowers in there. So we'll have to work with Joey to get the flowers in Campbell's Corner. That would be pretty funny. Hey, appreciate you guys being with us. Lots more coming up right after these messages.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Happy to have you with us, and happier to have Campbell's Corner today. And in the corner, Joey Brunk, former Hoosier, former Butler, and former Ohio State Buckeye. Man, the only guy to play for all three of those teams. Kind of a unique deal that I can't say will never be broken in today's environment, Joey. Man, there are guys that play for 4 different teams now, which that's different. It depends on the reasoning, but it just seems like there are some guys that are just mercenaries that are just jumping to the next dollar. And that's not what you were doing. You were just looking for the better situation. But today it's become commonplace for this to happen. It's really different. What are your views from the outside of seeing that?
Well, I mean, it's the thing that I think complicates it, I guess, for me is like there are so many there are certainly probably some situations where guys switch for, hey, I can go make more money. There's also just a lot of nuance in it. You know, I had coaching changes that happened along my way that certainly changed things as a player, fitting like in the system and how's that going to work for me. So I think that plays a part of it. And then like the thing that I think is hard with, you know, I obviously have a lot of buddies that are coaching at various levels, but like if you're playing at, you know, let's say you're playing in the MAC and you have a fantastic year, like what's your coach supposed to tell you to do if you could go make $500,000? Like that's a lot of money to make. And it doesn't mean you didn't love your time somewhere, but it ain't easy to make $500,000 in a year. I wish it was. I wish that's what I made in Europe. I didn't. You know, you could make that professionally, but like you kind of got to work your way up the ladder. It's not like you just walk into a great contract. You know, a lot of guys when you start your professional career, you really got to love it because you're probably not making a ton of money. You're making good money, but you're not filthy rich. You're not loaded. You kind of got to work your way up that hierarchy. So I think that also plays a part of it where it's like, what are you supposed to do? Like this is life-changing money for people, regardless of where they're from, who they are. You know, that's a lot of money to make in a year. So it's a tough situation. There's also, you add in like, hey, like college coaches can bounce for other jobs. That does happen. So I think like sometimes there is a little bit of like, hey, I feel like we're kind of talking about players leaving, but like coaches leave too. Like the system ain't great all the way around. And I don't think it's awesome to do that. In my theoretical plan, one, I didn't plan on going to college for 6 years. Didn't see that happening. And then on top of that, I didn't think I was going to go 3 places. So like, for the guys that have bounced around, like I don't think that's how everybody draws it up in their head of like, this is how my career is going to go. This is going to be great. I'm going to go to 4 different places. And that's not really what you're planning on when you step foot on campus, I wouldn't think. So there's just so much nuance in it that like I don't know. I think it's hard to judge what some people are willing to do, because I was in a spot and it's like, damn, like that was kind of brutal. Like I hated doing that. Like I didn't enjoy that at all. That sucked. That was miserable. Like I wasn't happy about that. So I mean, it's just kind of the whole system's kind of messed up from a variety of ways. I don't think it's like just a simple solution that you say, oh yeah, this one thing is going to clear all this up. Like, no, there's a lot of money that, you know, guys can make. There is a difference in what certain schools can pay. Like, there's a lot of variables that go into this. I don't think it's like a clean cut deal.
Yeah, Joey, you were part of I think a really good recruiting class in the state of Indiana. And I assume that were you an Indiana All-Star? Did you play in those games? And Kyle Simpson is a guy, the guy who's helping J.R. Holmes and lives here at, and coaches at Bloomington South. And I was really touched when you guys got together, when he came to our class and spoke to you. What impact did a guy like Kyle have on you? And I know, that's a great thing that those relationships still exist. But talk about your career at Southport and then the Indiana All-Stars, because that's an experience that is so unique to this state.
Yeah. Well, I guess to answer that, this is another cliche from being from the state of Indiana, but it's true. Like I can't help it. I could tell you the seat I sat in at Southport Fieldhouse when I was an elementary school kid going to games with my dad. I could tell you where we sat. I remember watching who played at Southport, Michael Case. He was like 6'8". I remember watching him get a trailing dunk against Perry Meridian. And I don't know, I was probably first, second grade. And I just remember thinking, I want to play at Southport. I want to be a high school player. Like my first dream was to play high school basketball and to play on the Indiana All-Star game. I remember going to watch Cody Zeller play in the Indiana All-Star game. Like, I want to do that. That was kind of like where my initial, I guess, dream was. And growing up on the south side of Indianapolis, you hear all these stories about Southport Fieldhouse and, oh yeah, it used to be standing room only, blah, blah, blah. And then, my junior year, we play Evansville Rights when they're number 1 and we're number 2 in the state. And it is standing room only. And you're like, this is pretty cool. This is what you wanted. And then we won the sectional and regional my senior year on our home floor. So like, there were some really cool moments in all of my basketball career, but especially in my high school career, just in terms of like, that's kind of where my dream started. And then obviously as I got older, it was like, hey, I want to play in high school, but I want to play in college and professionally too. But, I've had so many moments in my life from Southport to collegiately to professionally of like, dude, you're like 8 years old shooting in the backyard. Like, that's literally what you did. You got your homework done and you went and shot baskets outside with your brother. Like, that's what you guys did every night. And this is what you wanted. So like, a little bit of perspective on that is pretty cool. Of like, it didn't maybe go exactly how I wanted. But like, that's the kind of stuff you wanted to do when you're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old in the backyard. So like, what do you don't have anything to complain about. You did that.
And you're obviously, I'm very close to your mother when you were here, and I know you keep me updated on that, but your father had such an impact and really pushed you. And he was Big Joe, correct? And you were Little Joe.
Yeah.
And I probably would have had you be a pitcher if you were my son, because I think you could intimidate like anybody, but obviously that relationship with your dad and the story has been told about losing him early in your college career. And I know for me, because I've lost 2 or 3 people this year, really close. what are the holidays and what traditions do you have that you're looking forward to, probably starting maybe tonight or tomorrow? But we love your mom, and that whole again, the holidays can be really difficult for a lot of people. Or you can think about the memories and make it a celebratory situation. Talk a little bit about your dad's impact, and then what you and the family are doing right now and how you handle that. Because if you've never been through it, you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of, I'll talk about my dad, but then I'll brag about my mom. But I mean, with everything with my dad, I mean, obviously, like that was my first role model. That was my hero. My dad played small college basketball, had his jersey retired at Hanover. Was like fourth in scoring, fifth in rebounding. Played professionally in Sweden for a year. And like, I mean, I grew up my whole life hearing, your dad was the toughest guy I ever played against. Your dad would run through a wall to kick my ass. Like that was kind of the stuff I heard. And then, yeah, like he coached me pretty hard. But it also made it easier when you go to college, because it's like, yeah, I've heard about it all from my father. You're not going to get under my skin. Like I'm good. I can handle this. But yeah, like, I mean, losing a parent at 19 isn't what you expect, but perspective goes a long way in things. My brother was 15. So like, I can't complain. I was 19, he was 15. There's a big difference there.
Sure.
But in terms of the holidays, like, one, my mom deserves a lot of credit. My mom,
she's the best.
Held my brother and I together and kind of held us to the standard of what was expected of our family, of like, hey, like, you're not going to be the kid who ruined his life after something bad happened. Like that's not what we're doing. Like the expectation's still there. Like you have to give your best. You have to try to be your best. My mom came to my games at Butler my first 2 years. I redshirted and I didn't really play my second year, but she still came to every game. Told me she believed in me. And then, going into my third year, that summer is kind of like the summer I really changed my life. And there's just a lot of stuff that happened in terms of like the grief and all of that. But my mom was like kind of the constant of like, hey, I believe in you. You haven't changed. You're still the same player you were. You just got to kind of get yourself back to feeling like that. And she encouraged me to do more, to go above and beyond. So my dad gets a lot of credit for, I guess my development early, but like my mom deserves all of the credit for everything that has came afterwards in my career, because if she wouldn't have had that presence and like that belief, I wouldn't have played professionally. I was thinking about going to law school. My mom was like, why are you going to go to law school? Like, you should play. Like, this is what you do. Like, this is, don't get in your head about this. And you got to stay ready. You don't know what's going to happen. And then I get my moment, the last couple of games of the year at Ohio State, and I go on to play professionally. And it's like, that's what she's done. So my mom deserves a lot of credit. Then I guess in terms of the holidays, the good news is my mom kind of always ran the show for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So a lot of those traditions remain the same. My brother's in town, so we're going to hang out tonight. Then we'll go to Mass tomorrow. And my mom's making her spaghetti sauce that we'll have tonight. Go to Mass tomorrow.
Over?
Yeah.
Sounds amazing, man. Joey, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to be with us. I can't thank JD enough for setting it up.
Jim, I have one more question.
Okay.
Joey, we went out to eat twice already this year. Give me a review. We went to the Great Hamburger Joint here in Bloomington. And then,
is that Hinkle's?
Exactly. But the funniest thing was we went to Fat Daddy's in Ellettsville, and we took a picture, and we were going to try to put a picture of our guy from Ellettsville. I'm and I ask a lady about him, and she thought he was a funeral director.
Yeah, you said, Cooper Bybee? And they go, the funeral director? It's like, no, different guy. Well, I guess the thing that we have to say is, JD, you could have took me two of the worst places to have to function afterwards and go do a job, because I smelled like Hinkles the rest of the day when I was trying to sell flowers.
My wife does not. My wife gets mad when I go.
I should have brought it. I should have brought a change of shirt, because everywhere I walked in, I was like, they know where I went to lunch today. I was like, they could smell Hinkles on me right now.
Yeah.
I smell like grease. But a great place to go. But I should have had a change of shirt in the car.
Look,
and then Fat Daddy's was also great, but kind of a can't go too heavy of a lunch and then expect to be productive the rest of the day after that. So
yeah, you don't. Hey, by the way, I've got a 5 to 7 bone prime rib that I'm picking up tomorrow. So Fred Flintstone's going to happen here in our house with the three of us. And then we've got my granddaughter's birthday the day after Christmas.
You're locked and loaded.
Blast. Joey, I appreciate you so much, brother. I hope we get to do this again sometime. JD, thank you for setting that up. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy Festivus. It is Festivus today. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you, Joey, to your family. Happy New Year. Appreciate you again. JD, same to you, man. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, and we'll see you next week. Getting ready.
Absolutely.
Or are you going to be flying to, when do you go out to Pasadena?
I leave on the 31st.
Good day to leave.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks,
We've
fellas.
got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're back with it right after these messages.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday, and as usual, but just a different time, Mike DeCourcy's joining us. Thank goodness we'll be able to move him around today. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. JD Campbell before us got Campbell's Corner now. He had Joey Brunk on today. The only guy that played for Indiana, for Butler, and for Ohio State right now. But that's just for now. I'm sure that'll be broken one day. Mike, how's everything going for you, brother?
Oh, everything's great. How are you today?
Good. Well, good. Just running ragged. Had a late game last night. It never stops. Unfortunately, 7 days a week. It catches up to you.
I get it.
Just watched Indiana play last night, and the second time in a row they win comfortably, but it doesn't look comfortable to the eye. There are just certain things. They're in the second half. They're having issues in the second half. The shooting, a game back, they shot like no team ever. They were 14 of 20. I forget. 14 is 20. They were 53% in the first half, lighting it up. But 14
Chicago
made
State,
three-pointers. Yeah, they're only 5 away from the team record for a game for made threes. And I'm like, well, they're going to obliterate this record. They come out in the second half. They missed their last three-point attempt of the first half, and then they missed their first 15 three-point attempts in the second half, go 0 for 16, eventually 1 for 20 on that. And it's saying then they had some shooting issues in the second half of this game. Fortunately, Tate Connerway had a great second half, but I just those second half difficulties are making me wonder, all right, what is it? Are you guys pushing, or are you taking bad shots? What are you getting out of your own rhythm? Or is it just a freak thing of nature?
Well, I think, look, I covered in the late 90s for 4 seasons, I covered the Cincinnati Bearcats. And they would, in the first half of a lot of their bye games, their game started with defense. That's where Bob Huggins wanted the game to start. That's That's what they were good at. Melvin Levitt, never a great offensive player, but always a high-end defensive player. I mean, he had some things he could do. I think he averaged 14.5 points or so in his senior year. He's a fine player, but he was never a great shooter. Maybe that's more accurate. He's never a great shooter. So that as a team, especially 99, 98 around then, they sometimes struggled to manufacture baskets, but they would absolutely strangle your offense. And so that was a lot of their bye games. They would do that in the first half. And in the second half, I mean, it's hard to keep that intensity when you're up 20 points, Jim. It's just hard.
Yeah.
And I think that what Indiana's one of the things I'm disappointed with Indiana in these last 2 bye games is, okay, so you're like 1 for 10. This is the Chicago State game. Do you really need to go 1 for 11? Or might you try another way to score? I think especially in games like that where you could go 1 for 100 in the second half and still win by 20, maybe it's time to try to sort of explore other ways to generate offense for those occasions when you might happen to go 1 for 10 or 1 for 20. I think I know that they want to be a perimeter-based offense because it's what they have. But I think that you have to if you're not connecting and you're not maybe if you change the approach in the second half a little bit, then you might find something else that you can rely upon when the shots aren't landing, or other teams that have the ability, like a Kentucky or like in the future somebody like Michigan State, that have the ability to take away your preferred offensive option with their excellent defense. Maybe you come up with some other ways to score. I think that's what frustrated me more over the Chicago State second half and the Siena second half than the fact they didn't make shots.
Yeah, that's been my thought. I'm like, all right, are they just not realizing? I wonder, do they know that they're 0-4? That's something I meant to ask in one of the questions. Do they know, or they tell them, hey, you guys haven't hit a 3-point shot, you're 0 for whatever? Are they telling them that? I don't know what the conversation is.
Yeah, you don't want, I mean, especially a shooting team, you don't want to start thinking about, you tell shooters have a short memory. Aren't there animals that like have no short-term memory at all?
Yeah, that's Darren DeVries. He tells they basically, the team has a green light, and I understand.
Oh, yeah.
And I understand that you've got to do it because that's who you are. But I agree with what you're saying, that at some point you have to understand, okay, who I am ain't working today. It just, for whatever reason, let's try to pound the ball inside. Let's just try to run some sets, do anything. It's a little different just to break it up. And then that may change things. It may lead to a kick out, just no thought, 3-point, boom. There you go. So yeah, I wonder if their shot selection starts to get worse if they're not, when they're not hit, or because of these leads that they feel a little too comfortable, where they're, not as efficient.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's possible, but I think it's really just more. It's you're not as focused when you're up 25 or 30 or whatever it got to be against Chicago State. Remember, they went 1 for 20 in the second half against Chicago State and still won by 19 or 20. And I understand what Jay Gritty's saying, that they're not capable of going inside, but that's not really 100% true. I mean, they're not going to ever be good at it. But they do have options to go inside.
And they still got guys on the injury bench.
Reed Bailey can score inside. And he's not ever going to be great at it. But if you run the right sets with this offense spread out, remember, even if you're 1 of 10, they still have to guard you. They still have to pay attention to you on the perimeter. And so if you get Reed singled up, there's some guys in the Big Ten. I mean, Reed against Daniel Jacobson might not work great. He might get Daniel off balance and get a foul, or get to the opposite side of the rim and do a reverse layup or whatever. So if you keep the space, then you can get him one-on-one inside. He's never going to overpower anybody, but he's a good athlete with good finishing skills. And his finishing in the second half in the Chicago State game was a huge part of why that game stayed as comfortable as it was.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know if that's going to carry over. We've seen when they play up against teams that can handle certain areas of their game, and when that shooting goes awry, that's the bad thing about this team, is it leaves them pretty empty-handed.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, the Louisville game, the Kentucky game, I thought but remember, the first half against Kentucky, they played well. They were ahead in that first half. I think that they got caught in the second half. One, they're on the road. Two,
Lamar Wilkerson got his fourth foul early in this.
That's another factor. And the third is, it was an existential game for Kentucky. I mean, the effort they put forth in the second half of that game, even if they they got pretty good over the weekend against St. John's, and they were excellent, but they didn't play with the intensity that they did in that second half against Indiana, because you can't reach that many times in a season. I mean, they played with a level of desperation is used a lot and probably overused. But in that game, it was applicable. Kentucky was desperate in that second half. They knew what they were at risk of if they didn't get that done, and they got it done. So that was some of it. But the Minnesota game, I thought that was one they let get away from them in a way that was disappointing. I mean, remember, they haven't. I mean, so Marquette's really not very good, but Kansas State has played very well since they came into Assembly Hall and got smoked. And they played really well. They have had several important victories since they got obliterated on the assembly floor. So it's not that this can't work, and it's not that it can't work against high-end opponents, or high major opponents, I should say. High-end we haven't seen yet. But I think that I still think it's possible for them. I'm a little bit less optimistic than I was at the start of the year. But one of the things that's nice about this Big Ten right now, relative to Indiana, it's not nice for the league overall, is that after you get past what you would call the high-class teams in the league, Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan, obviously, Nebraska, the middle class, Ohio State, Washington, Wisconsin, teams like that, that Maryland and Northwestern that were thought to be either or type teams. If they get everything right, they can maybe get there. If they don't get everything right, they'll fall off, NIT, whatever. And for most of those teams to this point, it hasn't gone right. The Northwestern, I think, has lost 4 or 5 one-possession games to high major teams. They haven't been able to get all the way there. So Indiana goes into the Big Ten season in a position where there are some teams that are probably out of their weight class, so to speak. Not to say they can't beat them at home, but probably not going to beat those teams on the road. Okay, so you've got to go to Michigan State. That's going to be hard. Michigan's going to be hard. Maybe UCLA on the road and Illinois and Purdue. Those will be tough. But the other games, you can feel like you've got a chance if you play well. I don't look at the teams, like I said, Wisconsin and some of those teams that I thought could be very good that aren't playing great. And I think Indiana fits in that category. So it's up to them to take advantage of that when those teams come into their gym and when they get a chance to go out and visit them as well. Those are the teams they're going to have to do well against, at least a reasonable clip, and maybe steal one against one of the upper echelon teams when they come into your gym. And if you can do that, and then, of course, you have to take care of the Penn States. Penn State's not been very good. They're the only team, and Rutgers obviously would be the other, that you just have to take care of. However many games you got against them, you got to get those. No matter where they're played, no matter when they're played, you got to get those.
Yeah, and I wonder, and I don't feel that this team has the killer instinct when they've gotten up on these teams. That's when it starts. I'm like, it seems like it from the eye, it starts to change on how they're attacking offensively. You know, a 3-point shot they're taking could be 5 feet behind the 3-point line unnecessarily. Just things like that. And that to me is what I think will hurt them when they get into Big Ten play. Because
here's how I would counter that. They didn't do that against Marquette, and they didn't do it against K-State because they knew that they couldn't. At least in Marquette's case, they suspected they couldn't. They expected they couldn't because Marquette has been so good the last 5 or 6 years.
Fair point.
They didn't do that against K-State. They kept it up. They kept pushing. They kept up the grind. They kept making sure that they were having good possessions.
Is it maybe they're playing to their opponent then?
Yeah, but everybody does it, Jim. I mean, the best teams maybe don't. But like I said, I covered those Cincinnati teams in those 4 years, and especially because I didn't get the bye game season the first year, so it was really only 3 years. My first year I went in, I came in the middle of the year, so 96, 97. I didn't get the bye game, so I don't know what that team's personality was like at that point. That was a Danny Fortson team. Okay, so now we get into the 97, 98 team, and they did that. And the 98, 99 team, they did that. The 99, 2000 team didn't do that because that was the Kenyon Martin team, and they crushed everybody, like almost everybody they played. So I mean, if you're very good or have a chance to be very good and you go out and you do these things in the first halves and the other team looks like they have no resistance at all, I just don't ever punish a team for that because I know psychologically it's hard. It's hard to keep it up. The coaches want you to get, and I can't tell you how many times Bob Huggins came in after the game. It got so boring. Like I had to try to find different ways to tell the story because he came in after every one of those games where they'd win the first half by 25 and the second half, they'd either win by 2 or they'd lose by 2 or they'd, basically play even. And he'd be so mad. And it's like, oh, well, we've seen this before. Like it's the movie we've seen every time. And now this is Indiana's turn to do that. It's not a concern any longer because you don't have any more of those games anymore. So now they know if you play any of those games down the stretch, like you played second half Siena or second half Chicago State, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Even Penn State, like at home, if you do that, they'll beat you because they're not great, but they've got some really good players. Their freshman point guard is outstanding. So if you screw around and play that second half like that, you'll get caught. So you have to know that you can't. And I think when you look out on the court and you see those guys and you see some of the things that they can do, you won't do it because it's a different in terms of depth of talent. Even like I said, even for the least of the teams in the Big Ten, even for Rutgers, you're probably not going to get away with that. If you look, we had Rutgers on our air on Saturday night, and they were not outstanding at all, but they got a 34-point night from one of their transfer guards, a young man named Tariq Francis, who's now averaging 13.5 points a game. And I think he scored a career high 34, and then he hit the buzzer beating game winner. And if you mess around with Rutgers, that's what'll happen to you. So you got to play. And it starts with Washington and it carries all the way through. They have no more games where what happened against Chicago State and what happened against Siena on Monday night is going to be a factor.
So with this Indiana team, I've thought that without as much knowledge as I needed, that they were going to be at least an upper half of the Big Ten team. I have said now I think that they could be in that nine spot. I think you have to be in the 9th spot or better to make the tournament this year. The Big Ten is good though, so it's got really good teams, got depth. It's gonna, so that'll help a lot. Maybe they get 10 in, but even if they do, you've got to be in that spot. There are 18 teams in this league, so it's not going to be easy. You talked about
right.
the middle class. That's where Indiana is going to be fighting, and those are the teams they'll be fighting. The Minnesotas, who they've already lost to, Iowa, Wisconsin, all these teams, UCLA, USC, or UCLA may be above them, but I still think this team can be that team that makes the tournament, but they're going to have to fight on the road to get that. They're going to have to get some road wins.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the ideal season would be ballpark 500. 11-9 would be really successful. Anything north of that would be outstanding. And anything south of that, I think that with what they did in non-conference, it'll be a challenge to get in at anything fewer than 9 league wins. It would be very difficult for them to get in with, unless the 9 league wins that they get are pretty substantial. And I mean, honestly, if you look at their schedule, it's going to be hard to get to 9 without winning some really good games. I mean, because you've got, there are some excellent teams: Nebraska, Michigan State, Iowa, Michigan. That's all in a row starting January 10th. That's a 10-day period where you play those 4 teams. Now you get Nebraska and Iowa, the teams that are probably the ones you would look at as more vulnerable in some ways than Michigan State and Michigan. But you get Nebraska and Iowa at home. I mean, those are games that if you want to get to where you want to go, you got to find a way to win. And I will tell you, Nebraska is one of the best offensive basketball teams in the country. And Iowa is so miserable to play against. They pass the ball like a dream. And to try to defend that, I mean, Bennett Sturts is phenomenal. I think he's a pro. If he can prove that he can, like as an offensive player, he's a pro. No doubt in my mind. He's an NBA guy. Defensively, I have to see him against quicker players than I have to date to know for sure. I didn't get to see their Iowa State game, I think that's a really difficult player to go against. And I think, I think it's going to be an interesting year, a fun year. I have said that I think that what Indiana needs to do is establish a standard the way Tom Crean did. Like I said, you're going to back off in the second half of a blowout. I don't care. But how hard are you going to play when you're down? I care about that. And I thought that they played pretty, like I said, they got overwhelmed with Kentucky's effort, but they didn't back down. They just didn't have that same gear or weren't ready to use it. They're going to have to find that level of intensity at some point in the season. They're going to be pushed to that, and I'll be curious to see how it goes. One of the commenters was no tournament. You don't know. Nobody knows. I mean, their non-conference record to date, and their not conference record to date says maybe, and their conference record to date says maybe. So maybe is a reasonable assumption for this team. I'm not saying they're going to make it. I'm not saying they're going to be down there with Penn State and Rutgers. I don't know. They have a very they have a very potent offense when it's on. What they did to Kansas State is something that not a lot of teams have done. And I know it's easy to overlook that because then you go out and you lose to Louisville and Kentucky. But I mean, in all honesty, most teams in college basketball are going to lose to a healthy Louisville and and especially on the road at Kentucky. Most teams will lose those games. It's unfortunate for Indiana that the Marquette game that they scheduled, thinking it was going to be really good for their resume, has completely collapsed. It's now relatively inconsequential, and I don't think that's changing. It's just not a very good Marquette team. But if I'm an Indiana fan, I'm like hopeful and willing to wait and see, and hoping that this experience is positive enough that it looks alluring to the transfer portal guys, to other high-end players to go with the ones that they've already signed.
We'll certainly see. There's a lot of time. The Big Ten season is about to get underway. I mean, they've already played a couple games, but the true season, they're about to get into play. And but we've got the Rose Bowl coming up as well. We'll take a quick break, come back, and we'll change gears. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News. Make sure you're following, keeping up with the content there. We're back with more from Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's C-O-Y-L-E, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, FreeThink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Tuesday. Hope you're staying warm. I don't think it's too bad out there. I haven't even checked. I don't have a chance. I won't even have a chance to go outside. I'll be working all day, Mike. It's so funny. There are so many days where I see it, like I can see it through the windows, especially those nice days. That really hurts. But how's getting ready? Are you ready for Christmas?
I'm pretty close.
Shopping,
just a couple little things.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where I was looking at a gift on my way to Chicago in the airport, and I'm like, I can do a couple dollars better than that, so I didn't get it, and I'm like, why did I
buy something in the airport?
I had it right in my hand.
You were going to buy something in the airport?
Well, I don't want to say out loud what it is because my wife might be listening.
No, I'm just saying it, but that seems like that would be uberly more expensive.
Well, no, it wasn't uberly more expensive. It was just a little bit, but I thought that there might be a discount elsewhere, and I should have just bought it because then I wouldn't have to get into my car today.
Oh, yeah, there's that. It's always tricky when you're trying to do good, man, but you're trying to do the right thing. It's all that matters. Festivus, happy Festivus to everyone as we're barreling towards Christmas Eve tomorrow. Man, it's so funny now these days when I have a daughter, but she's grown, and so there's no one around me, and I'm always just working. It doesn't all of a sudden, boom! It's like your head goes up. You're like, oh my God, it's Christmas!
Yeah.
And we don't have snow. It just it doesn't seem like it did when I was a kid. When you're a kid, you can tell it's Christmas. You're jacked up. You're awake. You're like, damn it, those got my name on it, baby. It's just funny.
I know when Christmas is coming, but here's the thing. Like with all the stuff we do at this time of year, like my wife and I always have a dinner, and a special dinner, and we usually have it on December 23rd. It was always like on the 22nd or 23rd, depending on when we were going to leave to go home to Pittsburgh for Christmas. Well, now we don't have to go home. So now we're having it on the 23rd. And my wife last night says something about our reservation for dinner tomorrow night. And I was like, what reservation? And she said, our dinner. And I'm like, oh gosh, is tomorrow the 23rd? This is coming so fast, Jim. It's just going too fast.
Yeah, it's crazy. It just doesn't stop, man. Football's upon us. Also, the transfer portal is soon to be upon us by January 2nd. We're not far away, and it's so funny. The names are out there. We know the teams that are Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt, probably the top of the heap. Maybe I'm not saying he's the best quarterback, but he's probably going to be. There's a couple. The three names tied to him most: Indiana, Oregon, and LSU. Lane Kiffin, Kurt Cignetti, or Dan Lanning. That's his thought process. That's what he's thinking. And that and the money, I'm sure. But LSU they're going to want to make a splash. Oregon they got the money. Indiana's the poor man in that group, no doubt. But you've also got the fact that Kurt Cignetti's done pretty well with quarterbacks. I mean, his record with QBs goes all the way back before Indiana. He's had a good run with quarterbacks.
My thought process is that if you're in now, when I did a piece earlier this fall about the quarterback class for the 2026 draft, so Sam now presumably would no longer be a part of that. But he was someone that a lot of the draft analysts that I spoke to were starting to talk about. And so if they're talking about you, first of all, I'm surprised that you would leave your situation if you are developing toward an NFL career. Unless like you got, me and you for your wideouts, I'm not sure exactly whether that's, the proper idea. But if you are going to move, why would you, I guess Oregon's got the history with Dante Moore and what they've developed him into, and they've got that. And Indiana just took a guy. I'm telling you, Jim, I watched Francisco Mendoza play last fall in person. Against Pitt.
Fernando
Mendoza. And I did not see a good college player. I mean, he was fine, but I did not see anything like what's coming. And I told Kurt this when I talked to him in advance for the article I did about the Sporting News selecting him as Sporting News College Football Coach of the Year, the first time we've ever picked in 60-plus years of the award, first time we've ever picked somebody in consecutive years. We picked Kurt. And I talked to him about that, and I said, I wasn't in scouting mode. I wasn't looking to see if Fernando Mendoza was an elite college quarterback. But I didn't get bowled over either. I mean, he put 15 points up on the board against Pitt, and he goes to Indiana, and now he's got the Heisman Trophy. So that's impressive.
You can also look at just go back 1 year, Curtis Rourke. He nobody, and if he wasn't hurt, and if he had Indiana's offensive line this year, that he didn't have that last year, and that's where Indiana had to make up. So I'm like, what does he do if he has that same line? Because he was pretty good. I mean, he was one of the number 1 or 2 quarterbacks in a lot of categories, and he just didn't get the love because Indiana was on his jersey still. They still hadn't done enough. But I just don't see how you pass that up. But Josh Hoover is the guy that I think will end up in Indiana from TCU.
Okay.
Former Indiana commitment, Mike. He was originally committed to Indiana, decommitted and went to TCU. I think he ends up back at Indiana. Has thrown for over 9,000 yards. He is the most prolific quarterback actually in the portal as far as that goes statistically, over Sam Levitt as well. But I like the way he plays. Very calm, very steady. He's just Sam Levitt's great. There's a lot of great. The kid from North Texas, Metzemaker, who Indiana opens with next year, by the way. People are not realizing that, but Indiana opens the football season against North Texas next season. So, and again, people will be like, well, look at that weak schedule. North Texas almost made the CFP. So,
I would have liked it if they hadn't taken all the high majors off their schedule, but the mids that they have played have been very good. Kennesaw played in a bowl game. Old Dominion won their bowl game. So at the very least, the G5s they're playing are very good. I still think for the league's sake and for the sake of college football generally, every P4 should be playing at least one non-conference P4.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's gonna be tricky to see how all this plays out. I think this is going to be of course, the wackiest portal season yet, because it just is good. It's just getting more portally. With coaches moving everywhere. You've got just look at just the Sam Levitt thing. Okay, Indiana, Oregon, and LSU. Indiana wouldn't win that battle because of money. I can tell you that right now. They're not in the category of Oregon and LSU money-wise. They don't have that kind of, no, I don't know that anybody has Oregon money, but LSU is pretty damn good as well. And they're all in with Lane Kiffin now. So, I wouldn't see him up at Indiana anyway. I think Josh Hoover ends up in Indiana for 2 reasons. One of those is he's not looking at it that way. I don't think he is trying to leverage it as just to leverage the money. He's leveraging his future. Yeah. He's looking at NFL. Not that Sam Levitt's not, but that's Sam Levitt's bigger concern. And I think that he is seeing everything that you just talked about. And I think he ends up at Indiana. That's my prediction. And when that comes true, you can say, damn it, he was finally right about something.
Well, oh yeah. You've never been right about anything, Jim. Never. Like when you said that Kurt Cignetti was going to get this done, and maybe you didn't say he was going to do this, but you were pretty early on the Kurt train.
Yeah, nobody expected this, but and everyone's still talking about how crazy it is, because it is crazy. And you do have to ask yourself, how in the hell has this happened? Seriously, because they tried the transfer portal has changed everything, yes, but everybody
has access to the transfer portal now.
Right.
Everybody has the same things. So why is it Indiana and only Indiana that has done this crazy metamorphosis from an amoeba to a Hollywood model?
Well, I will say that I don't think they're the only ones. I mean, it's just to the degree that they're doing it, and and their starting position was lower. But BYU was not. I mean, they have been this in the past during
BYU and Utah. I don't know where these Mormons are coming up with all this money, but baby, it's rock sports are rolling in the Mormon state.
Yeah, but they had the days during the McMahon and Robbie Bosco and all that when they had Ty Detmer, and they had a really great run, but they had fallen off, and now they were very close to making the college football playoff. TCU, we know there's money there, but they've been able to do it not just in football, but softball, men's basketball. I mean, they've been terrific at a lot of different sports. They have done really well because they have spent their money wisely, and they have won. So Indiana's not the only one. They're just the most improbable, and the reason it's worked there is pretty obvious. Kurt is a phenomenal football coach, and it's really cool. You know, when we selected Kurt to be our coach of the year this time. Last season was obvious. I mean, it was obvious and easy because he turned the historically worst Power 4 football program into one of the 5 or 10 best in 1 year. I mean, it was an easy choice. But this was not an easy choice, except it was an easy choice because then he took it another step further and turned it into what at least stands now as the best team in the country. They're Big Ten champions. They're the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. And what I wrote in the article was that the reason that we never had multiple, or I shouldn't say multiple, because we had guys win it twice before, but we never had back-to-back winners, is because of all the various awards that any outlet gives. The coach of the year is the most subjective. And it's also opens the door because of that to spread out the joy a little bit, that you can, oh, they got it last year. Let's give it to this guy over here. The only way you give it to this guy that got it last year is there's just no other answer. What he did has to be acknowledged. It can't be ignored. And taking Indiana from even what they did last year, which was phenomenal, to this, which is superiority, it was staggering to go from, wow, they're really good, but not quite good enough to win at Ohio State or really even stay competitive, and not quite good enough to really stay competitive at Notre Dame in the playoff until it was too late. They went into a neutral field environment, basically 50-50 in the fan bases, a little bit shorter drive for them, so it favored them from that standpoint. Columbus, 3 hours. Bloomington, 55 minutes. Okay, so it's a little bit of an advantage for them there. And they won the game. They won the game with that pressure on. It was just a staggering achievement that Kurt put on this year. And that's why we picked him, because there wasn't what he did. There wasn't any other answer. Even you could justify Clark Lee. Somebody did. You could justify it, but it clearly wasn't the right call, which is why nearly every one of us who do those awards selected Curt Cignetti, because what he did, it superseded anybody else.
I agree. 13-0 on top of that, the only undefeated team in the country. So well-deserving and great recognition. And if you did not read that piece, make sure you go back and catch that in the Sporting News by Mike, and plenty other of great things that he has there. Our nation's oldest sporting reporting news source, baby. Mike has been there from day one, as I've always said. I'm just kidding. It's an old, worn-out joke. Mike,
I love that joke, though. It's one of my favorite jokes. It is.
I can't thank you enough, brother. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to your family and you. Hope it's a great one. enjoy a great meal and all that goes with it, brother.
Merry Christmas, Jim, to you and to everybody that listens to us on ISB. I really appreciate you. I love getting the chance to join you and your very, very many fans every week.
Well, they love you, brother, and as do I. Appreciate you so much. Happy, sir. Appreciate you.
Take care, Jim.
Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Glad to have you along for the ride. Thank you so much. Man, big packed day today. Enjoyed the heck out of it. JD brought on Joey Brunk in Campbell's Corner, which we're going to have Campbell's Corner each week. So it should be fun. Hopefully have someone special each week with us. Not always. It's tough to do that. It's a lot to get done, but have more of it. Got a lot coming up. Interviews. John Wertheim will be with us next week. Let's see, whom else do I have? Kind of already working on some others. I don't want to say we'll have them until we've got it done for sure, but working on trying to get Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer on with us as well. So we'll see what all we can get done, but it'll be fun no matter what. Heading into the Rose Bowl, heading into Christmas right now, though. Rose Bowl is still a week from Thursday. Yeah. A week from Christmas Day. There you go. Rose Bowl coming up. Indiana. How soon will they get out there? I know that they're supposed to get out there earlier than normal because they have responsibilities that you need to do this, you got to do that. That's not what Indiana wants to do. And I'm not sure that I think they're trying to see if they can get out there as late as possible, like they have before. Hey, and before I forget, for our Bloomington peeps, David Buster's over by the College Ball. Specials for every IU game. And for the Rose Bowl, 10 wings for $10, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas. That's a great place to catch the game with family or friends. You can take your kids over, let them go play games while you're watching the game, the game. Got 3 gigantic wall TVs. When I say wall, I mean on the wall, big, gigantic, in addition to many other big screen TVs. So plan your next watch party. Dave and Buster's birthday party as well. Sundays are fun days. Half price games for the kids. Don't forget our buddies down in Sellersburg too. Dr. J keeps your smile going. Keeps mine. Alabama, Indiana coming up. Transfer portal coming up. Transfer portal opens the day after the Rose Bowl. How crazy is that? So Indiana wins. They're still playing. Do they have guys that enter the portal? Probably. I mean, I can't imagine they don't have any guys that hit the portal. Is there a team that won't have guys that hit the portal? I doubt that. I doubt that seriously. Tomorrow we'll hear from Kurt Signetti and Kalen DeBoer ahead of the Rose Bowl. Daggone, tomorrow's the last day before Christmas. Man, we won't have a show Christmas. I guess we'll do the day after. Might as well. No reason not to. Not like it's Black Friday or something. I wonder why that. Well, because it doesn't always fall on that. That's a hard Friday, though. A hard Friday. Day after Christmas? Come on. Who's not taking that day off? We'll see. Not sure. I have to figure that out. But yeah, the transfer portal, man, gonna light up. I think Josh Hoover ends up at Indiana. Okay, let's get that out of the way. It's not going to be Sam Levitt. You've also got Byron Brown, but he looks like he's headed to Auburn. His former coach is going there. Brendan Sorsby, former IU quarterback, former Cincinnati quarterback, I think will end up at Texas Tech. He also is going to get paid. His girlfriend has already transferred to Texas Tech. He's from Texas. Texas Tech's got money, and they'll pay him. He's going to get a nice payday. He's going to get a better payday than he probably would if he came to Indiana. I'll promise you that. But that's not the quarterback that Kurt Signetti wants, I don't think. I think he wants Josh Hoover. I think Josh Hoover wants Indiana. I think they're a perfect match. I think he's kind of a cross between Fernando and Curtis Rourke, to be honest with you. He's already thrown for 9,000 yards. Man, what a fun day. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. As always, we're back tomorrow to do this again. Let's see what all we can scatter up to make it fun. Hope you have a great day yourself. Weather looks to be incredible. Wow. Been fun. We're back tomorrow to do it again. I'm Jim Coyle. I will always see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.